Well, hello and welcome to the Clue Bird. I'm your host, R. Wayne Browne. I'm also the author of the book, The Clue Bird. Today, I want to discuss with you, is it a problem or is it just an option? And you think, what? Well, hear me out. I think you would agree with me that most people, maybe including you, because it certainly includes me, we call every unwanted issue in our life a problem. A broken dishwasher, car repair, sick pet. If you're a student, homework piled up. Everything's a problem. The definition, however, of a problem is an unwelcome event, harmful, needs to be dealt with. And I think out of habit, most of us just simply call everything a problem. That's probably the way we were raised. Unfortunately, that's our first error. We label an unwanted issue in a problem, then all of a sudden it feels like a crisis. We make an unwanted issue bigger than it really is, because when we use the word problem, it elevates us emotionally. You feel crippled, helpless, worry a lot, concern, angst, wringing hands. I know, I've been there. I've experienced this my whole life. It's mind-numbing, and it mentally handcuffs us. We feel powerless and helpless because we made a simple unwanted issue in our life, like a broken dishwasher, a problem. It's a hand-wringing, gut-wrenching, what are we going to do moment. And it's needless. A real problem, in contrast, is a permanent setback. It's a big deal. It's a life-changing event. You can't recover from it. A car wreck, and they come and tell you that your paralysis is now deemed to be permanent, is a problem. A doctor visit, and he tells you you're very sick and you ought to go home and get your personal affairs in order. Hey, that's a problem. A war, floods, storms, violent storms, being a crime victim. These are real problems. They're all permanent setbacks. You're never the same. And amazingly and ironically, most of us live our entire lives and really never experience a real problem. I know people, I'm thinking, they've never had a problem in their life. You probably know people like that as well. The problem is that we make unwanted issues in our life, sometimes even trivial things, problems. And it creates a lot of angst, worry, and concern, and it's needless. Think of unwanted events in your life, big or small. A broken car. You gained a little weight. I know what that's like. You don't like your job. Been there. You really don't like your coworkers. Yep. You just went through a breakup or a divorce. Or something trivial like you got gray hair. Yeah, it's a real problem for me. But these are just some of the thousands of unwanted issues that we all contend with in our lives. We all have them, nonstop. However, don't call them a problem. They're just an option. All these trivial, unwanted issues in your life, they're just an option. An option is a decision we haven't made yet. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, he gained a little weight after college. Wasn't serious, but I had lunch with him one day, and he confessed, man, he really hated feeling heavy. He was embarrassed about it, felt tired, said he couldn't play sports as well as he used to. He said it was a real problem for him. I mean, I could tell he was really concerned about it. And he wanted my advice. So I said, okay, first of all, don't call it a problem. It's only an option. It's an unmade decision. I said, let's calmly just sit here. Let me grab some paper and a pencil. I said, let's just go over and think of some possible options you might be able to use to eliminate this unwanted issue in your life, that being slightly overweight. So we batted it back and forth and got to laughing a little bit, got him to relax. And so we came up with 5 things. 1, don't eat anything white, such as bread, cookies, chips, all the good stuff. Yeah. 2, I said, don't eat after 6 p.m. At 6 p.m., you're done eating. I said, another option, join a gym and commit to at least 3 hours a week on a treadmill. Cut out all portions that you normally take. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whatever you normally eat, cut in half. And I said, okay, how about no wine? Well, I thought I was going to have to call the ambulance when I brought that one up. Anyway, I said, here's 5 options that we have come up with in 5 minutes that can fix your problem. And it's not a problem. It's just an unwanted issue in your life. It's a trivial thing. So all of a sudden he said, I understand now that I can probably lose the weight. He said, I was really concerned that this was a lifetime event. I was not going to ever get rid of this. He said, I suddenly feel in charge. I feel powerful. I think I can do this. I said, so out of the 5, pick one. And then commit to doing it and never quitting. You do it and do it and do it every day until you eliminate this unwanted issue in your life. Well, about a month later, he called me. First thing out of his mouth, I want to thank you. He said, after our little meeting, he said, I went home and talked to my wife about this. And she goes, man, that's great advice. He said, I chose to quit eating after 6 p.m. And he said, and my wife said, after dinner, why don't you just go brush and floss your teeth, because then you'll probably be less inclined to eat anything until you go to bed. He said, man, that was a big help. He said, all of a sudden, I'm not eating cookies, ice cream, Twinkies, leftover pizza, ham sandwiches. He said, I didn't realize how much I grazed watching TV at night. But he said, when I cut that out, he said, it's amazing. He said, I'm now down to my college weight. And I want to thank you for the great advice. You're a great friend. Well, that was great to hear. But once you do this exercise and you prove it to yourself that it really works, right? In other words, you take any unwanted issue in your life and you just calmly sit down and go, I'm in control of this. Give me 5 to 7 options that you could do that if you did it, if you committed to it and you put it in your life and you did it every day, it would eliminate your unwanted issue. Wow, that's freeing. That's amazing. So once you do this one time and you're sold, this really works, then I recommend that you, in private and in total honesty, write out a list of everything in your life that's an unwanted issue. Think of anything, big, small, trivial, that is in your life that's degrading the quality of your life. And we're all different. And we all have probably thousands of things we could pick and choose from. But go through and write down a list of all the things that you can come up with right now, currently in your life, that you would like to eliminate. And then we do the same thing. Take one unwanted issue in your life, write out several of the options that you can come up with. You'd probably know them better than anybody. And then just pick one. Commit to it. Like a dog on a bone. You just commit. And you're going to do this every day until that unwanted issue is gone in your life. And you do the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And it will clean up your life. I know, because that's what I do. And in this process, never utter the word problem. You simply build a list of your chosen options to eliminate an unwanted issue. You pick one, and then you work nonstop implementing that chosen option until the unwanted issue in your life is dead and buried, so to speak. I'll give you an example of something I did. I was a terrible golfer. Well, I'm probably still a terrible golfer. That's beside the point. But anyway, when I was doing this list of going through all the unwanted things in my life, one of them was golf. And what I'm saying to you was I was a terrible golfer. And I was playing in this league of good golfers that were serious golfers. And it was miserable. I hated it. I mean, they kind of didn't want to play with me. They made fun of me. They probably laughed at me. And I didn't enjoy it. And so it was on my list. So I thought, what are my options? I thought, okay, option one, donate my golf bag to charity. 2, hire a pro and take lessons on a consistent basis. 3, maybe play more golf and practice more golf. 4, maybe join a beginner's league, if there's such a thing. And 5, maybe buy a bowling ball. Well, anyway, I picked 5. So I called a pro and I asked around, and sure enough, there was a brand new beginner's league forming at a club here in town. So I joined it. First day I went over there, I was just as nervous and as anxious as I always was. Then it dawned on me, I'm better than these guys. They're terrible golfers. But they didn't care. They're laughing, drinking beer. They didn't care. And I thought, this is my kind of golf. I love this. So I eliminated an issue in my life by simply working the process. I had a few options. I picked one, I implemented it. I committed to it. I joined that beginner's league, and I played there consistently week after week after week. And I enjoyed golf for the first time in my life. So how are you dealing with your problems? First of all, we got to make sure that you realize that you probably have few, if any, real problems. You just have options. You need to pick an option to work against any unwanted issue in your life and stick with it until it's gone. And you work through your list of unwanted issues in your life and you just clean them up one after another. And pretty soon the slate's clean. Do this and it will clean up your life. I know. Well, I want to personally thank you for tuning in today. And if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe. And hot tip, until our next visit, I want you to think about earning it. What should we focus on to just earn it in our lives?